Me, Kevin Smith. Have you been looking for all my old podcasts, the ones I started recording back in 2007? Well, guess what? I found them. They're all hiding in that Kevin Smith Club. All that shit's not exclusive enough. We got 3 more shows that are only going to be going on at that Kevin Smith Club. The return of Plus One, the marital podcast that I did with Jennifer for years. Wake and Bake with Kev. That's right, a video show where every morning, whatever I'm doing while I'm smoking, man, you're going to hang out with me. And then, of course, the exclusive Kevcast, man. That's the podcast of me just by myself, where I just kind of do my own self-therapy while you listen. See all the video you've never seen, including exclusive movies and live shows. You want some swag? That Kevin Smith Club is making pins and miniature versions of my old scripts. If you want to be involved in the least exclusive, most inclusive club on the net, join that Kevin Smith Club. Now's your chance to club Kevin Smith.
Hey!
Oh.
Welcome to Fat Man Beyond. I'm Kevin Smith.
I am Marc Bernardin.
Hey!
Ho.
When I watch that ad for that Kevin Smith Club, I see a young man at the beginning of the pandemic. That's when we shot that. He didn't know what was going to happen for the next year, Mark.
It was going to be rosy, all fucking sunny days. Give us a couple weeks. We'll be back out and about.
He was like, look, man, like, you know, but I'm sure by, I don't know, like May, we'll be out of this. He was wrong. He was so fucking wrong.
Oh, maybe by this May.
Yeah, fucking, if we're lucky. Welcome back, kids. It's a special Friday show. Good Friday show. But every day we do this show is fucking good as far as I'm concerned. We don't need some church to tell us it's a good Friday. It's a good Friday when Fat Man Beyond is happening. We're doing it now as opposed to Saturday or Sunday because this is Easter weekend and some cats, you know, got shit to do and whatnot. Here we are gathering together on a Friday night, mere hours after the debut of Falcon and the Winter Soldier of episode 3, which naturally we'll be deep diving on. We'll talk about Invincible. And I'll show off an Invincible kit that they sent me and whatnot. And I watched it. It was awesome. We could talk about that. And then Mark's got news for us, and I know some shit has been happening.
Ooh, you know some things? You've been earing to the pavement?
I kicked my horn to the ground, man, and I heard some shit. Couldn't miss it. It was on social media, I believe, this morning, one of the bigger stories, but we'll get to that when we get to the news. No guests this week, kids, but that's okay. Me and Mark are used to doing the show without guests and providing the same entertainment value as people who make your favorite shows, as we conjecture what they're thinking, as opposed to actually get it directly from their mouths. Before we do anything, though, housekeeping is in order, man. Somebody got to help us keep the lights on here at our separate houses, as you can. Somebody got to pay JC for all this. You think he does it out of kindness of his heart? JC makes a fucking small fortune in the real world doing technological shit. JC, pop in here, bamf in here, and take your bona fides. Tell him what you've been shooting, man.
I do all the digital production for all of the Hollywood Reporter's award season stuff. So, like, you know, Sound of Metal got a bunch of noms, and Hollywood Reporter has a special little thing that you can buy into, I guess, and they send out they do a special movie screening of Sound of Metal, and then afterwards you can do a Q&A with the stars and the people who made the movie. So I've been recording and editing all the Q&A content, all the Hollywood Reporter roundtable stuff. I did the Billboard News Grammy pre-show. I have 1.2 million viewers on it, which is pretty exciting.
It's way more viewers than we get.
Not by much.
Why don't you tell them about our show while you were there? Like, drop in some fucking graphics with links that lead them back.
Banff in. Be like, you gotta go see this show. Banff out.
If you think this is exciting, wait till Sunday when Fat Man Beyond airs.
Then they'd show up on Sunday and nothing would be there because we're doing it on Friday. It's a sweet thing that JC makes the time to do this show and whatnot, because he's out there fucking working every damn day and stuff with famous people.
There was a big debate about whether we would do the show Friday or Saturday early, because I was supposed to shoot an interview with Doja Cat in Malibu tonight that got canceled. So we ended up on Friday.
Mark, where's your hat? You got to wear something protective. Just look out for all these dropped names that fucking.
I don't know who Doja Cat is, but apparently
I've heard that. I've heard
popular.
that name.
Yeah.
What happened?
I told him I only had like an hour and a half in my day to get there, because to drive to Malibu, it was 7 p.m. To drive to Malibu to get there on Friday by 7 p.m. is a 2-hour drive. And then there's a 2-hour drive home. I said, I can't do this. And they came back and they were like, well, we don't know when Doja will be available, so can you just kind of be there all day? No. So they just canceled it.
You fucking douched out on Doja Cat?
Well, I think that the producers also didn't want to sit there all day waiting. So,
no doubt. You could always pull the baby card where you're like, hey man, I got a baby at home.
I was kind of like, well, and they didn't have, their budget was minuscule. So I was like, I got 90 minutes for you plus travel. And they were like, we need you for 7 hours. And I was like, nah, I'm going to do Fat Man instead.
I don't get out of bed for less than 20 grand. I'm JC. Well, look at that, man. JC's always working on something, so it's nice that he comes here and does this and whatnot. But we got to fucking pay him for his time. People's time is valuable and whatnot. And
well,
so to do that,
what I did all day, where I was all day today was Scum and Villainy, getting set up for our opening this upcoming week.
And how we pay JC kids apparently is the plugs, the free plugs.
Yeah, that's the real value.
That's where he's getting the message in right here. When is the grand opening again?
We're doing a special ticketed event on April 6th for our 4th anniversary. Even though it's kind of our 3rd anniversary, because our 3rd year got blipped out of existence by the snap of COVID. So we're really only been around for 4 years, real world time, but COVID time 3 years. So I guess it's our 4th birthday party. So we're doing a special ticketed event, and then we'll open up later in the week for people to come and hang out again in a socially distanced manner.
What if people want to go? Where can they get tickets?
They can go to bit.ly/scumnvillainy, which I just dropped in chat for everybody.
Still sounds complicated, but whatever. Why not just scum?
You know what? One of the viewers set it up last week. So who am I to?
I asked them. Why not just scum? Scum for fun or something memorable.
Yeah. Oh, that's already taken. I'm 100% sure.
Probably. All right, man. So people can go there if they want to go there and actually be in the space. And April 15th, everybody starts. They open up the immunizations, the vaccinations to everybody out here. So I heard something today about public performance spaces are going back to like 50% or something like that. They're starting to reopen those. So that means it's going to be showtime soon.
Indeed.
We just went to Orange Tier, so we can have 50% capacity at Scum, but you have to abide by the social distance rules, which makes it so that we can basically stay at 25% because people have to be 8 feet apart and dividers and everything. So our space is so compact that we're about the same. But it's exciting. It means we're moving in the right direction.
Truly. Better than being closed. Well, that's awesome, man. Scum and Villainy on the rise, ladies and gentlemen.
And we'll be doing the show back there hopefully pretty soon too.
Yeah, that's what we were just saying before when we were like, we'll be back live.
Somebody said too much tummy time.
That's right. What are we going to do about the fucking gorgeous picture, though, man? You going to give us 2 separate cameras so we each have our own singles? Like I'm
gonna try. I've been talking to Andrew. We're gonna try to add a few cameras and broadcast in 4K and do all sorts of fun stuff when we get back. So
shit.
4K. Nobody needs to see how fucking old we look.
We're gonna get hair and makeup before this.
Yeah, that's not going to help this show. Although, ladies and gentlemen, if you look to the lower right, you'll see a man fully illuminated. Mark got himself a brand new ring light. Is that what I hear?
Oh, and it's a big one too. It's the size of a hubcap, man. It's gorgeous.
Welcome to the 2021, my friend.
Yeah, like I'll show you the one that I used to use.
Okay.
Which it's this big. Which means all it sort of did was like whisper some light at me.
Right.
But now I got the big fucking like, hey, look at that shit.
Look at that, man. You're illuminated. We could see you. I can see clearly now. That light is on. Well done.
In the future, baby.
I'll tell you right now, lights aren't cheap, kids. As I was getting at before JC insisted on fucking selling Scum and Villainy.
Oh, guarded you.
Yeah, he jumped in there and he's like, I see an ad space. Ring lights are not cheap. None of this is cheap, man. It's cheap for you. You get to watch it at home for free and stuff, but there are costs involved. So, of course, Fat Man Beyond has a sponsor as often as we can and as many as we can. We'll take them all. This week, we got one sponsor who we love, who must love us because, boy, oh, boy, they keep advertising right here on Fat Man Beyond. So somebody's getting hairy, ladies and gentlemen.
The hairy they got.
They're the good folks at Keeps, ladies and gentlemen. Keeps.com. Let me send you there right now as we have this chat with you. KEEPS.com/fatman. Because if you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, that's what we're about to talk about. You go to keeps.com/fatman to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's KEEPS.com/fatman to get your first month free. KEEPS.com/fatman, man. You know why? 2 out of 3 men will experience some form of hair loss by the time they're 35. I'm 50, and it's love is a battlefield up here, kids. Why do you think I wear funny fucking hats? It's not because I'm like colorful, like fucking Carrot Top or some such shit. I ain't got a bag of props behind me, although I do have some cool shit to show up. I wear the damn hat because I lost the hair battle, man. As I'm cresting toward the fucking grave, I got like 9 hairs fucking left and shit. And I wish Keeps had existed back when I was a young lad, because I'd have done what they suggested with their very name and keeps all that hair and stuff like that. More than 50 million men in the U.S. suffer from male pattern baldness. I'm one of them. I love my father and my grandfather, but fuck them. They ruined my head. I wish Keeps had been my dad, Mr. Keeps, because I'd have a lion's mane full of hair if that was the case, man. There are only 2 FDA-approved medications that can prevent hair loss, kids. Keeps offers both. Both. Mark, take over.
I too have a little bit of a follically challenged dome going on, and I also wish that perhaps I had heard of Keeps back when I could have done something about it. And if you are on the verge of being able to do something about it, do something about it. Keeps offers a simple, stress-free way to keep your hair. And it's low cost, man. Treatments start at $10 a month, and Keeps offers generic versions. And it comes in discreet packaging, and it offers proven results.
What are you waiting for, kids? Don't you want to keep your hair? Take it from 2 bald old fucks who wish that they had something like Keeps back in the day, for heaven's sakes, man. Don't be follically challenged. Don't be married to a life of funny fucking hats. Go try your shit out, man. Go try out Keeps.com. Go to KEEPS.com/fatman. You're going to get your first month of treatment for free, ladies and gentlemen. Prevention is the key. Treatments can take 4 to 6 months to see results. So act fast. Right now, go to keeps.com, KEEPS.com/fatman.
Do it. Save your hair. Save your life.
I gave you the final word, and the best you could come up with is save your hair, save your life.
Save the cheerleader, save the world.
That was actually pretty good. I was like, fuck, we should have led with that. Save your hair, save your life. Take it from us, two broken old men. We wish we had saved our hair. Oh, God, I tried.
Springs from your head.
I put it in a bowl, and I had glue, and I couldn't make it fucking work. All right, thank you to the good folks at Keeps for sponsoring tonight's episode. We're going to get into Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but first,
yes,
we'll show and tell, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to all the folks who keep sending us shit. I'm able to show shit off. This is what I got from the folks at Amazon Original for, you can see my ring light right there, for Invincible. Look at this big ass box. What the fuck is in here? Put my name on it. Big old picture of Invincible and whatnot. I appreciate these, and I love that they send them. But don't these people understand I'm watching the show either way? Save your money, I says. All right, let me pull over an Apple box.
Apple bottom jeans. This with the fur. Everybody is looking at her.
Okay, one more time before we open this bad boy.
Nice.
How huge it is.
Well, I mean, Amazon knows people who deliver shit, so they figure they can get a good rate.
I hadn't even thought of that. All right, so we open up the box. The unboxing, you don't get to see that part, but that's just me opening the box. Jesus. There is Invincible #1. I don't know if it's a reprint. I'm assuming. Yes, it is.
Not a first edition? They're not just giving away first printings?
It looks like animated series promo, but I mean, I don't know if it's brand new or not. That's a good question. If only we could ask somebody close to the source. That would be our good friend, Robert Kirkman. He has a letter inside. It says, "Hi there. I hope you like your box of cool Invincible stuff. The animated series comes to Prime Video on March 26th, and I couldn't be more excited for you to watch. It's his second longest comic book series. Guess what was #1?
Super Dinosaur.
Very nice note, but nothing about the contents. This is a little poster of sorts. Strength, flight, recovery. So
His powers.
His powers, right? Then, okay, what do we got here? This is a card that says, now that you've had a chance to hone your skills and load up your utility belt, you're ready to get out there and do some good in the world. See, we can all be heroes. We've partnered with Give Back Box to provide you with an easy way of recycling this box by donating any unwanted items to a good cause. Just visit givebackbox.shop/discount/invincible. Explore their charity partners. Choose one that speaks to you. Then fill the box with acceptable donation items, which are listed on the site, and use the promotional code Invincible to cover shipping. Oh, that's smart. So this big ass box, you'll go to the approved list and you fill it, and then they'll come pick it up, and it's full of donatable. You can't put use dildos and shit like that. They have an acceptable list. And I'm sure that wouldn't be considered acceptable, but that's a good idea.
It's a very good idea. I mean, especially because most of these things are going to people from the press. And if you're on those kind of press lists, you get 1,000 of those boxes a year, more shit than you can handle. And it's the weirdest, craziest thing to say, but it becomes a bit of a problem of what do I do with all of this free stuff? And the fact that they've now realized that and have given you a mechanism for then donating it all and making it easy to donate. That's really smart.
It is. Smart. Props. All right, what else is in here? I've got a Liquid IV hydration multiplier, electrolyte drink mix. 1 stick, multiply your hydration. So it's, powder you stick in a drink.
Astronaut Gatorade.
Then I've got Amazon Halo Band. What is that?
I think it's like a Fitbit, maybe, or some version of a fitness tracker.
You're absolutely right. Labs, body composition, activity, sleep, tone of voice. So free, the rich get richer. A Sakara Energy Super Bar.
Energy.
Not sure if it's vegan. We'll find out. Tectonic brand light roast coffee.
Ooh, it'll shake you awake.
Notes: cherry, caramel, chocolate, process washed, region Ethiopia and Colombia. And then, what's this? What is this? Oh, heavens. Theragun Mini, the massage reinvented.
That is a huge dildo.
You ain't kidding, man. I guess you can recycle the fucking vibrator. Look at this. And that looks like it would do some pounding. Look at that. It's like pound, 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 pound. This ain't no vibrating rabbit, ladies. This is Pound Town right here. Can be by a dude as well, apparently. Small device, small device, big performance. That ought to be my fucking motto. And then Soothe, some eye patches.
Oh, that's nice. It seems as if
I don't quite get the theme of all of this stuff together.
I'm imagining the theme is you were out the night before fighting crime, and it hurts, and now you got to go about your life, and so here's the shit that'll make you better and help you recover from being bloodied by somebody close to you.
I got to tell you, naturally, I want to send the box back with things in it and shit, but there's got to be like some Invincible mega fan out there that's like, give me it. I want the box. Like, fuck the coffee. Just give me the box. When we go back to, I'm saving all my shit. When we go back to the Scum and Villainy Cantina, because I don't know if you guys heard this or not, but it's opening back up. Maybe we can get JC to pop in and tell us about it.
He's very recalcitrant to talk about the bar.
But you know, I got a bunch of shit to give away, a lot of the freebie shit I got. So I'm gonna bring it to the bar, and people who come to those shows, you could walk away with an empty Invincible box, which is
you could walk away with a full Invincible box.
You have one too. You got one?
I got one, but I have a feeling that there is some shit that we've all gotten over the last year or so that we are happy to give away.
A little bit. I mean, happy to share the wealth. I'm gonna share this wealth with my wife.
Hey, just clean it off before you give it away.
My wife got her second shot, and she's down for the count.
Yeah, that happens. Shot number 2 is a fucking skull smasher.
Well, speaking of skull smashing, thanks to the good folks at Invincible, Robert Kirkman and friends, for this kit. Now let's talk about the fucking show. Holy shit. I've watched the first 3. Fantastic. You know, I didn't read the book, so I didn't know what I was in for or what I am in for.
The end of that first episode is a doozy.
Holy shit. Like, and the way it's structured in such a way that, you know, it reaches an apex and they give you a title card and you're like, oh, right on. And you see the bar and you're like, but there's so much more time left. Is the show over? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, it's going on. And then I thought they were giving us a series of shorts. Like, let's take a look into the lives of their Justice League. What are they called?
Oh, I can't remember. Squadron Supreme or something like that.
And then instead they did what they did, which, you know, look, we're about to spoil Invincible, kids. If you have not seen it, do something or come back in like 3 minutes or something. So here we're giving you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Holy fucking shit, man. Like, I know if I go out and Google and read the comic, I could probably find out what's going on, but I love not knowing. Because that ending fucking blew me out the water. Like I texted Kirkman after I was done, and I was like, I was about to text you halfway through the show to tell you how wonderful and warm and charming, and how like just what a fuzzy blanket of a show this is. And then, the end happened. And, I'm glad I waited. You mad fucking genius. In the last few minutes of the episode, is it Omega Man?
It's like Omni-Man or something.
Omni-Man, that's it. Invincible is the kid hero. The whole show begins with a world of superheroes, and their Superman is called Omni-Man. Omni-Man is married in his secret identity, and he's got a young son. And that son, his superpowers are starting to manifest, and he's also starting to show the might of his father, the strength, the flight of his father. His father is like a Kryptonian from another planet, Valtrium or something like that. So, it tells this kind of warm story of a father preparing his son for the life that he's known.
Yeah. And see, the catch is so adorable, where they're literally throwing a baseball the long way around the planet and then catching it, and then again and again.
And if that was the show, beautiful. Still on board. I'm there for every episode. But, if you've seen it, fucking Omni-Man goes fucking crazy, kills the entire fucking Justice League as brutally as possible in a cartoon. I had no idea we were in for that kind of cartoon where it was like, look at this shit. Look at the blood flow. Look at the fucking neck snap. It was incredible, an incredible ballet of fucking comic book violence that goes beyond where most comic books have ever gone. So at the end of that, I was like, you have my attention. And I watched 2 and fucking 3. Fantastic show.
Yeah, that is such a smart storytelling move. I mean, it's not a trope, but it's a tool, which is the audience now knows something that will drastically affect the life of your protagonist who doesn't know it yet. And so the audience is on a secret. And you now inform every other episode with, when is he going to learn this? And so every time he sits down for dinner with his dad, every time he has an innocent conversation about his dad, anytime anybody talks about Omni-Man in that world, and Mark Grayson is like, that's my dad, you know what's coming. You just don't know when it's going to happen. And that is such a smart, savvy way to invest the audience in what's going on, because it buys you their attention. That tension and attention, it rhymes. They're almost the same word. Fancy that.
It is a beautiful show as well. In the 3rd episode, when spoilers again, Omni-Man travels back to the other planet through the wormhole or whatever, through the boom tube, and is just like, Earth is not yours to conquer, and just fucking lays waste to their entire world and shit, and like just blast through walls holding their Martian leader until all that's left is like a fucking skull. Then he just, crumbles it and shit. That whole sequence was like something out of Heavy Metal, like it was goddamn beautiful. And like whole show's beautiful, but in sequences like that, it's so stylistic, and because they went to a completely different planet. Fantastic cast across the boards.
Oh, it is like the thickest animation cast I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. Right up there with Masters of the Universe, I dare say.
Indeed.
A lot of big names in their cast. Seth Rogen came in, did the alien guy, Alan the alien. Really great stuff, man. How many episodes is it? Do we know?
I don't recall. I think he might have told us, but I think we also forgot. It might be 10.
And now they're going into the drip mode, right? We'll never get 3 again.
Yeah, it's 3 to bait you, and then they got you week by week after that.
And then they give us the boys treatment after that. I have loved the first 3. Thought it was absolutely fantastic. Now look forward to watching it. Don't know if I could get my wife into this one, but I'm gonna try.
I think you might be able to though, like because I think the mother-son story.
Sandro is great, you know, and there is
Yes.
a mother-son story as well.
And Oscar nominee Stephen Yeun is killing it as Mark Grayson.
Yeah. And who is it? J.K.
J.K. Simmons is his dad.
J.K. Rowling. The magic of J.K. Rowling. Is there nothing she can't do? Yes, J.K. Simmons, who, like, you know, did the character Omni-Man have a mustache in the comics as well?
Yeah.
It's almost like they built it for him. He sounds wonderful. Yeah, and like John Hamm doing like a side voice.
Yeah, just like there's Jason Mantzoukas over there, and there's, oh, hey, Jillian Jacobs over there. Just like everybody you've heard. It's like, huh, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's great. If you're not watching it, kids, get on it, man. It took me 2 weeks to get around to it, but I saw people like in chat going like, hey, man, talk about fucking Invincible. Talk about Invincible. And so this week I fucking downed it and was like, holy shit. And they're thick as a dick, man. Like fucking each one's almost an hour long.
Yeah, that's a lot of money in animation land.
Yeah, man, that's meaty, but worth it, worth the trip. They got that Amazon money. They're fucking sending out vibrators. They got that. Congratulations to Robert. We'll have him back on the show. You know, we were going to have him on after it was over. I don't know. Maybe we get to halfway point and have him jump back in for a little bit and shit.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always fucking gold. He's a wonderful guest, but you know, now we could be like, holy shit. Oh, I was like, now we could suck his dick over it. You actually did suck his dick over it a little bit because you saw it before I should have.
Yes. I got in first. You can have 20 seconds.
Yeah, and then I was like, give me that. No, just got out of the way. Probably be smart for me to watch the show when we have the guest on in the future. That's
don't do that. It's the freewheeling, footloose, fancy free version that I think that people respond to.
Truly. So if don't sleep on Invincible, kids, and you can't. It's particularly the last like fucking 10 minutes of episode 1. It's special stuff. Kirkman doing the Lord's work yet again. Amazon helping them do it, and a cast of like every famous person ever involved. So great stuff. Go check it out. All right, that takes care of Invincible.
Yes.
That brings us to the time. I didn't go to chat for the Invincible conversation because I was afraid people would spoil it. Like, because now, like normally we conjecture, like, you know, on WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we could sit here and be like, I wonder what's going to happen and speculate. But with Invincible, like it's been around for a minute, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks, I think.
No. I mean, as a
book. Yeah, the book is like 12 or 13 years old.
So like they're probably following, you know, the storyline. So there are spoilers. If I want to know what's going to happen, I could probably find out, but I don't want to because I kind of like being like at sea. Like, what the fuck is going on, man?
Yeah, and I have to imagine that, you know, at least early on in the show, they're going to hew a little bit to the comic book because even Kirkman said it. Like, you know, I wrote this story. I know how it goes. Now, there's going to be some innovation and some turns you don't expect along the way. But much like Walking Dead, after a fashion, did sort of follow the general tides of the comic book. Like we went to a prison. We then went to Terminus. We did these things. You meet Negan. Like all of that stuff did happen. But there were some sort of new inventions along the way, new characters that might not have been in the original. But So yes, if you want to know the big movements of Invincible, they already exist. But I'm sure there's going to be some new shit. The new friends we made along the way.
Also, I was just watching before I came here, the WeWork documentary on Hulu.
How is it?
Pretty fucking fascinating. It has very little to do with our world here and whatnot, but if you're looking for a good documentary about like the cult of personality, because that's all it was. Dude was just a salesman, like a really good salesman. So good that like people forgot that like, so wait, your main business is you buy buildings and then you subdivide them and rent space out. Like, how's that going to save the world? Like, it was one of those like places where they were like, we're changing everything. And really they weren't changing anything.
Okay. As long as you're not going to tell me that WeWork is also like a deep sacrificial cult for the elder gods, while I'm sitting in my WeWork office. She's like, oh, dude, you should watch this documentary. They're going to kill you in like 15 minutes. You just wait till the lights turn out.
When we're all done here, you're going to be sitting in that office and you're just going to hear over a small speaker, don't watch that documentary. Like, what? What are you saying, WeWork?
Yeah.
Don't watch that documentary. We have our offices in WeWork, and I still found the documentary fucking fascinating. That guy's gone. He's long gone. But man, oh man, it's like, you know, he wasn't like, he was a wonderful salesman. He just didn't really have anything to sell. But oh my God, could he whip people into a frenzy? You know, I'd like to think that I wouldn't have bought it. I would have been like one guy in the documentary is like, they're renting fucking desks, you know, because it's such grandiose talk about the future and about like changing, like they created WeWork, We Live. They were like creating kids school, like We Educate or whatever the fuck. And, you know, at the end of the day, like they build themselves as a tech company, but there was really no tech. You know, they were just a real estate company. They're just renting places out. But apparently the valuation between like what a building was worth and what they said it was worth was completely different. And most people know the big story, which is like, you know, their $45 billion valuation, you know, kept going down and down and down. But it was a pretty interesting documentary. But anyway.
Yeah. You know what I've been watching before we get to Falcon Winter Soldier?
Yeah.
There's a documentary series. I want to say it's History Channel. It could be Discovery Channel. They're all the same channel at this point, called The Food That Made America. And the episode that I watched that I found fascinating was about the rise of pizza joints in any place that wasn't like New York and Connecticut. Specifically, the rise of Domino's Pizza and Pizza Hut. And, you know, they eventually became competitors, but they were just these two like small businesses that began in the middle of America and had the burden of introducing pizza to a populace that had never heard of it, let alone tasted it. And, you know, the thing that I found so fascinating was the Pizza Hut guys were like trying to figure out a way with almost no money to make a thing called pizza. And they didn't have any recipes. So they just started like, I hear it's dough and sauce and bread. And so they went into their fucking like kitchen lab and started making it up. And they found an Italian to taste it. And it's like, this isn't pizza. I don't know what the fuck this is. And they were like, it's okay. We're in Montana. Nobody knows what pizza tastes like. But you know what they'll like? They'll like this. And then that began this sort of empire of Pizza Hut. And then Domino's was trying to be a restaurant that did everything. They wanted to make like sandwiches and subs and pizzas and burgers and fries, but they couldn't afford a space big enough to serve everything. They're like, listen, we only have enough room in this place for like the kitchen and 3 tables. We can't possibly attempt to make a fortune this way. So they eventually said, you know what? We're not having any people in here. It's delivery only. Like there's no eating in here. We'll bring the pizza to you. And then they had too many fucking things on the menu, like a Greek diner. And they eventually and there were 2 brothers who were fighting over like who's going to be dominant. One brother was like, well, fuck it, we're cutting the menu. It's only pizza. And the other brother's like, but what about the sandwiches, Jimmy? And he's like, you guys do what I tell you to do. It's a big fucking like inner turmoil sibling rivalry thing. But it's always worth remembering that everything that's giant began as like 2 dudes in a room who were like, I got an idea. Is it a good idea? I don't know. Like, should we make good pizza? Doesn't matter. You're right, it doesn't. Nobody knows what good pizza tastes like. Cool. And then they make billion-dollar companies that ultimately fuel America.
I'm going to watch that for sure, number 1. But number 2, you're right. Pizza Hut pizza isn't really pizza.
No.
Never has been.
They never promised you, quote unquote, good pizza. Here's a thing that we're calling pizza.
Yeah, it's not even like it's bad. It's just everything is Sicilian there. Everything is like this high.
Yep.
Like they don't just have, can I get a slice? Like you walk in a pizzeria. It's always, you know, it's extra. Everything about it was always extra and whatnot. But I've never really thought about that. The fact that like when you step back from it, you're like, well, other than the fact that you might get a round shape, you know, it does have dough and sauce and cheese involved, but it's not technically what a pizza is. I hadn't really thought about that. I remember the proliferation of Pizza Huts, like throughout the 70s as a kid and whatnot. Pizza Hut was, in my world, considered a luxury. Like, you only went there on special occasions. Because we had like real pizzerias, like a Touch of Italy or something like that, where you get a real motherfucking pizza pie and stuff. So like, I remember whenever I'd be like, can we go to Pizza Hut? Like, my dad would be like, no, we're having regular pizza tonight. Pizza Hut was considered special pizza. Isn't that crazy? And he was, and honestly, pound for pound, he was right. Because fucking the regular pizza you got from pizzeria, thin, good, but thin. Fucking Pizza Hut pizza, you can feed an army for like a week on the fucking thickness of it and shit like that. So maybe my dad was like a quantity, not a quality buyer.
And I remember, being a kid, and especially in public school, they would always talk about like the food pyramid and healthy diets and all of that shit. And pizza was always the best fast food you could eat, because ultimately most of it is fresh if you're getting it from a dude who's making it, fresh cheese and fresh tomato sauce, and the crust isn't that much. It's not a ton of carbs. So like, it was quote unquote okay for you, better than a cheeseburger, better than whatever, until you get to Pizza Hut and the fucking crust is this thing. It's mostly starch, everything else is kind of synthetic, and it's 1,000 calories for a fucking slice of pizza. Like, but it tastes good. Oh, it's all the oil and the salt and the butter they put in there. And there's so much sugar in the sauce, you won't know any different. It's just, I'm sorry, are you fasting? Did I fuck things?
This is hour 49 of my fast. So I'm like, they do put oil in it, don't they? Boy, that sounds good. Keep talking.
Give me this massage gun.
This is like, yes, I'm going to use it. I'm going to put it right here. This is like that scene in fucking Midnight Express, man, where I'm going to ask you to put them on the glass and shit like that. Talking about that food while putting them on the glass. Oh, Kevin. Man, that all sounded fucking good as hell. Like, for the first time in a long time, I was like, I would eat Pizza Hut right now. That'd be amazing.
I would do that. It's not vegan, but you know what? Fair enough.
They got vegan pizzas and stuff, but they don't make them as fucking thick as a dick and whatnot. It is. It's kind of like an all Sicilian menu over there. Like, I remember, like, at our pizzeria, every once a year or something, my mom would be like, we're getting Sicilian tonight. And that's the fucking pizza that's like deep dish, just real fucking large and stuff. But even that was a special occasion and whatnot. Pizza Hut turned pizza into a special occasion every night. But the most iconic thing about that restaurant to me, and I'm sure it's long since changed, I haven't been there in a while, were the, checkered tablecloth covers or whatever, the plastic tablecloth covers, and the red plastic tumblers. I hope to God they still incorporate those in some way.
And those like stained glass light fixtures that would always hang over every table that made you feel as if you were in like a legit pub somewhere.
Yes.
Like, oh,
it feels like we're in the middle of Italy. Look at this place. This is
stained glass. It's like the Sistine Chapel of pizza places.
Welcome to Food Man Beyond with me and Mark, where we talk about cuisine and shit we'd like to be eating right now.
Yeah, this is our Fasting and the Furious podcast.
Yes, fuck. That made me so hungry. Right now, I'm sitting there going like, 7 o'clock now. My eating window always closes at 8. So if I end the show right now, I have 56 minutes to order a pizza and devour it before.
Yes, and we're done. Goodbye, everybody. No questions,
bye,
no
everybody.
news, no nothing.
YouTube.com/Kevin Smith. Bye. All right. We ain't done, kids. We're just getting started, man. Fuck all that food. Food, here's what you got to remember about food. Food is absolutely my addiction. Thing you always have to remember about food is it ain't going nowhere. Like all that, like Pizza Hut, they ain't going nowhere. So, in this moment, I'm like, fuck, I need Pizza Hut. I don't. I really don't. I'm not even hungry. But I can comfort myself by being like, when you are hungry and when you do break your fast, and now and probably till the end of time, Pizza Hut will always be like you. And if it's not Pizza Hut, you just find a ridiculously large, piece of fucking Sicilian pie, and you're probably in the same neighborhood to some degree. Always got to remember, food ain't going nowhere. When you give something up like sugar, sugar's going to be there when you get back, man. They cracked the code of sugar a long time ago. it ain't going nowhere. So pizza's not going nowhere. I can do without pizza for a while.
I look forward to the inevitable Mad Max future where there's some sad dude eating fucking dust and dog food, who's watching that loop over and over and over again. Like, guys, food ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Best buddies rolling around, like fucking killing people, cannibalizing on the outback. Food ain't going nowhere, man. It's always going to be there for you. Really? Orange Hat Man.
They refer to me as the horned fool.
You wanted to see the God of Lies? Here he is, right now, telling you the food is going to be here forever.
I suddenly am side by side with the QAnon shaman for two white idiots with horns in their heads who didn't realize they were so wrong. Okay.
Yes.
Never mind so wrong. Something so right, ladies and gentlemen, is Disney Plus has a series right now. The 3 episodes in, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Episode 3 just dropped last night, and at midnight, so early this morning actually. And I have watched it twice. Did you watch it more than once, Mark, or just?
I have not. I watched it this morning, when I woke up, knowing full well that we were going to get into it tonight. Like I tend to let it wait till Friday night. It's my Friday night, like, slow down. Like, hey, I'm gonna have this, I don't know, maybe a bottle of wine, maybe a little aperitif, and get into my comfy pants. I'm gonna watch me some Falcon Winter Soldier and then just nod off into a good night. But no, I had to do it this morning because Friday belongs to Fat Man.
I tell you, you made that fucking aperitif sound good too. I'm like, I'm writing a list where I'm like, when I break my fast, Pizza Hut, number 1, aperitif, number 2.
Dan, I need an aperitif.
If I could combine the two, a Pizza Hut aperitif, well, fuck.
I need some pizza port.
It was, it's a good episode 3, really good. They didn't spend as much on this episode as they spent on the first 2. No gigantic fuck off action sequence. That's what I said to Jen after we were done. And she was like, well, no, Sharon Carter kicked ass. And I was like, I didn't say there were no fights. Plenty of those. But they didn't have one gigantic, like, look at this shit. And I kind of narrowed it down to the wings didn't pop out. He didn't use his wings once. If he ain't using the wings, the show is infinitely cheaper, right?
It's then just an episode of the Rockford Files.
Exactly. This was, I mean, I wouldn't call it a bottle episode, but this is like a very inexpensive episode. I doubt that they budget them per episode. I think they just budget the whole and that's it. But this week's was, it just didn't, comparatively couldn't have cost as much as the first 2 by virtue of the fact that they weren't fighting on top of moving trucks or swooping in and out of fucking helicopters and shit like that.
Right.
Still, it's not like it lacked for any action whatsoever. It just didn't have those giant action sequences. And what it lacked in that, it wisely made up for in other areas. JC, join us. Bamf in here. I saw some interactivity on Twitter. Did we ever get a ZEMO Watch?
We
tag?
did. I got several. This was the one I was able to get into the show, though.
All right, let's see it.
Boom.
You know what? Very straightforward. Nothing wrong with that. In my mind, it was a little fancier, very graphic package, but whatever. We'll take ZEMO Watch right there. ZEMO Watch began with episode 1, and we saw no ZEMO in episode 1. At the end of episode 2, we got a touch of ZEMO. Mm-hmm. But in episode 3, Mark, they went full ZEMO. Full to the hilt, balls deep. Call the man his name, Baron fucking Zemo. When they said at one point, when they were like, so what, you're rich? All this time you've been rich? And he's like, before fucking COVID, I am a Baron. And you were like, because he's called himself Zemo and they've referred to him as Zemo, but nobody's ever once said Baron Zemo.
Yes.
And they literally said it in this episode. Not only did he say, well, I am a Baron, but then later on, I think it was Falcon who was just like, Baron Zemo here, which delighted me no end. And then on top of it, we got to see him first in the coat. And I was like, oh, they're going to make a slow build. They're going to wait until episode 4 to put on the mask. But they did not wait till episode 4 to put on the mask. And the motherfucker strapped on the mask and went full Zemo in episode 3. So for those on tight Zemo watch, as I have been, it was an orgy. You can keep your big fucking truck fight sequences and your big helicopter sequence. You give me all that Zemo. And not only did they give me Zemo in a mask, they gave me Zemo dancing at a discotheque. Whitest dance you ever seen in your life. And it was a space music.
Pound it out. I'm going to pound it out here. Pound, pound, pound.
And I also love that he was like, you know, fucking Richie Rich Zemo who could just fly everywhere, has his own fucking Jarvis or Alfred, if you will, Wesnick or whatever the fuck. And he's helpful. Like, he's a fucking super helpful guy. Like, you know, they've got a common mission in as much as like no more superheroes and shit like that. So they're all getting along. It's a happy fucking weird little Brady bunch. And then the final moments of the episode, they up the ante because they're like, hey man, not everyone is happy that fucking Baron Zemo, you know, is in a discotheque fucking Who would be mad about this? Of course, the people whose king he fucking killed. And so one of the, what is it? How do you say it?
The Dora Milaje.
Dora Milaje show up. What was it? Oh, it wasn't.
It wasn't Okoye. It wasn't.
What is her name?
Ayo. AYO.
And the last time we saw her, she was fighting fucking Corvus Glaive, right? Like in the lab. Wasn't she the one who was like fighting him?
Trying to think. Yeah.
Oh, I thought that character died, you know, because like he was a pretty tough customer, but alive and well and in an alleyway in the middle of fucking where are they?
Zemo, just dropping off Kamoyo beads all over the place.
It was awesome. Once I saw that bead, I was like, and what a perfect way. At first I was like, oh my God, they're bringing Shuri in. But like, what a perfect story device to weave in, which is just like, not so fast. Baron Zemo ain't such a great guy. We got fucking debt with him. And this is going to complicate the mission even more. Fantastic, that aspect of it. Bringing in Sharon Carter, which, you know, we knew from the trailers was happening. Developing her as an art dealer who has the real art. Like, I thought it was really scandalous that they were like, that shit in the Louvre, that ain't real. Here's the real shit. Which is something you've always heard on the internet and whatnot. Bringing back Agent 13, was that her name? Agent 13. And letting her be this like off the grid kind of Carrie Matheson fucking went rogue, former SHIELD agent and whatnot, who's had to live by her wits, and showing the repercussions of Marvel adventures in the past. What I love about what they're doing with the Blip storyline is like, you know, in Avengers Endgame, we were like, oh, thank God they brought everybody back. But the horrible repercussions they've been dealing with like ever since, man, like kind of like, look, this ain't such a great thing, or is it such a great thing? Or look how it's displaced the world and stuff. And they did something in this episode as well that was kind of like similar, where I was like, oh shit, how great to bring that thread back into, I think the Wakanda thing, where I was like, how smart to just tell a story now of like, never mind their mission, fucking justice is demanded over here. But and him being like the is he the White Wolf or whatever? Bucky having spent time in Wakanda. Like it all just makes sense. I didn't see that coming. Like oddly enough, I didn't see the whole like he spent so much time in Wakanda. Maybe Wakanda comes into this storyline. But they're sparing no expense with these fucking shows, man. Like when they
go to Madripoor, and like I don't know where they shot that, but we're in fucking Madripoor, but B, like
they made that shit, like that beautiful bridge shot where they're across from Hightown and they're about to walk into the city and stuff like that. Clearly a manufactured shot that exists nowhere. But the fact that they did Madripoor at all, man, is one step closer to mutants, like way closer than anything ever happened in WandaVision. Madripoor, for those that don't follow, that's a mutant fucking stronghold, been in the comics for years and years and years, man. So the moment they said the name, I was like, You know, they get me so easy. All they have to do is reference some shit where I'm like, holy fuck. So I thought for a second as we watched this, I'm like, is this where everyone thought we were going to start seeing mutants pop up in WandaVision? I'm like, is this where we start fucking catching wind of mutants? If Madripoor is nothing if not mutant paradise and stuff like that. A lot of stories take place. A lot of X-Men stories take place.
Yeah, Wolverine spends a lot of time in Madripoor. New Mutants is where we first met Madripoor. It comes out of that book. So yeah, it's
Claremont. Chris Claremont do it. I think he created Madripoor.
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, it is, and whoever this power broker is, you know, part of me thinks the power broker is also Zemo, and we're sort of quote unquote chasing our own tail, because of course he's gonna not be trying to get to the power broker, but everybody's afraid of the power. He's the Kaiser Soze of this particular story.
That's good. I was going with Sharon Carter. I was like, Sharon Carter is the fucking is the power broker, but I like yours better. That's good.
But yeah, the fact that if it's not Zemo, if that could be a mutant, you know, whoever is calling the shots in Madripoor could be, you know, fucking Mojo. It could be Longshot. It could be anybody. It could be.
Don't
anybody.
Start this shit. This is that Mephisto shit on WandaVision. Everybody's like, the rabbit is Mephisto. The bug on the windshield, that's Mephisto. We don't know, but that'd be fucking dope.
Yeah, it'd be great if this was the show that introduces Mephisto. Where it's like, guys, we were all over it there. It's like, no, it's like Mephisto and the Winter Mephisto, guys. Like, it's all Mephisto.
It's like, you didn't see me coming. Man, oh man. What did you think of the episode? I'll be honest with you, I was like, you know, there's only a little touch on the Isaiah Bradley storyline in as much as the one scientist, the guy who recreated the super soldier serum and name checked Erskine as well. He referenced like, oh, we had blood that we pulled, you know, from somebody. Yeah. That was the only Isaiah bit that they touched on. So we didn't go deeper into Isaiah Bradley this week and stuff. But so I was a little disappointed in that because it was like, oh, after last week, I'm like, all right, we're heading in that direction hardcore. But this one was pretty much like the action adventure hour, you know, it was crucial and also great for like, you know, it's not an exact parallel, but like fucking if we were telling a Lethal Weapon story, Zemo is, you know, fucking the Joe Pesci of the bitch. So you had to let them bond as a team. But now we'll see. And Zemo had like 2 or 3 chances to get away and doesn't, you know, comes back and rallies with them and stuff like that. So I think there might be something to your theory about him being the power broker.
Yeah. Like I dug this episode. It's very much a procedural, right? Like here's our clue trail. We got to talk to this guy who will then lead us to this person, who will then lead us to this person. We got to go undercover here. You got to be the Winter Soldier again, which was kind of cool. And like, you got to be the Smiling Tiger, which sure, I dig that. It was very much like, here's our Miami Vice episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. And to that end, like, yeah, no, it's fun. It was small. I did bump a little bit on the Sharon Carter of it all because it felt like that was a character that wasn't Sharon Carter for a long time. And then they were like, hey, but what if it's just Sharon Carter? It's like, okay, where was she the last time we saw her? Oh, training to be an FBI agent. Okay, so now she's a criminal underworld boss who's like literally killing people overseas in a land without laws, kind of AWOL and on her own. Yeah, I mean, that's a big jump from FBI trainee, like young Agent Starling, but sure, okay. Like it could have been a new character. We can make it Sharon Carter. So like that kind of the drive-by character explanation of that stuff was like, oh, that's quick, but sure, I suppose.
Yeah, the how you got from here to there. It was kind of like, you know, she was like, I just gave it all up and became
very hand wavy. Like things happen in the 5 years. Like, okay.
I liked though that she was like, you know, after I got the shield back and shit, and after I fucking got you your wings, but she was like, I got your wings so you could help him beat him or something like that. You know, it stands to reason that like other people got their shit cleaned up. She didn't get her shit cleaned up. She was a little bitter and whatnot. She is definitely a different character than the one we saw last time. I saw a theory online, a tweeter. I wish I had copied the tweet, who said, that's not Sharon Carter. That's a Skrull. this whole time, and it's going to lead into the, you know, the Secret Wars storyline that they're talking about doing. I was like, ooh, I love that. That's hot. See, man, like if that was Invincible, nobody would do that. Speculate. They'd flat out tell you, oh, this is what's going to happen because I wrote the fucking comic. But with this, we could speculate because they're not doing any story that they've ever done previously.
Yeah. I mean, at least not with this one. I mean, there's elements like the doctor, that Dr. Nagel, who's talking about the blood that they pulled off of whatever subjects, is a character from Truth, Red, White, and Black. Like that dude was in the Robert Morales, Kyle Baker book.
Really?
Yeah. You know, and which I should do a mea culpa. It's been a while since I read that book, and I got some shit wrong last episode that I would like to cop to. In that Isaiah Bradley was not the prototype for Steve Rogers. He was the prototype for replicating Erskine's formula. Like they wanted to make more super soldiers. They didn't have the OG digits to make it happen. So they then started just making shit up in a lab. And then they tested it first on Black subjects, of which he was one of 5 who survived. So it was not pre-Steve Rogers, it's post-Steve Rogers. So I got that wrong.
Is that true? True. I always thought I too thought it was pre-Steve Rogers.
Yeah, as did I, and that's sort of how I remembered it. But doing a little bit more research and, you know, listening to the internet, that is in fact what it was. You know, even interviews with Robert Morales, who passed away in like 2009, I think. But he talked about how surprised he was that Marvel let him do that. He always thought that would be the one that they shut down, like bringing the Steve Rogers into it at all. They were like, no, we're fine with that. Like, you can't say that he was before Steve Rogers, but after Steve Rogers, yeah, we can say that.
And so in the book, did they send him on missions that Captain America just didn't know about? That was during that period where Captain America was like more of a showman before.
If I remember correctly, and again, I didn't reread the book to discover this stuff, but I think it was
in the ice during that time.
Yeah, like the war still rages post Steve being trapped in the ice, and so
I gotta be honest with you, I like our version better.
Like if it's mine to do, I do it this way, but it's not mine.
All right, so but yes, not for my money, not enough. I want to see more of the Isaiah Bradley storyline. So hopefully we'll see more of that. And there's only 3 episodes left, right?
I know, like that's the thing. It's like, you know, this was the kind of meat and potatoes of the plot. Like we have to move forward into where we need to be. And so, yeah, don't worry. 4, 5, and 6, we are going to spend all the money and do all of the stuff. But here's the sort of the beginning of Act 2, like chuff, where we got to find out who put these Kruger eggs in here. Who's that guy? Like, all right, the South Africans. Okay, what are we trying? Like all of that Lethal Weapon-y kind of like, here's the plot pipe we need to lay so we can blow some shit up later on. So we can kill Mr. Joshua in the final reel.
Boy, you just maybe you also mixed up your Lethal Weapon.
I did.
Weapon 2 right there.
I did. I went Mr. Joshua from Lethal Weapon 1 and Krugerlands.
The Weaponverse Ultimate movie where there's.
I mean, and you brought in the Pesci for Weapon 3.
We can't get away from it. It's all over. Into the Weaponverse, where every cast member can meet across a couple different weapons, where Mr. Joshua can come back and fight. I don't even know who the rest of the bad guys were.
Yeah, there's Endo, the Asian dude who's in every movie from the 1980s. He's also the bad guy in Die Hard who reaches for the candy bar in the
yes
that guy.
Right. All right, enough about that shit.
But yeah, I'm here for it.
They got 3 episodes left, and so far so good. I enjoy the heck out of it, man. I saw somebody today on Twitter was also like, why, you know, like they thought the sequence, the jail breakout sequence was like, come on. Like they felt that was like, I guess not big enough or whatever the fuck. But I was fine with it. I didn't bump into that. I'm like, great. He gets out using his wits and shit. Look, I just love Baron Zemo. So the fact that they're using him at all, the fact that he's lounging around in an airplane dressed in fucking purple, the fact that he has that furry collar on his coat, the fact that, you know, he's like, if it doesn't pass the smell test, you could serve it to these guys anyway. And his fucking butler's like, oh, I'm glad you're back, sir. It was just fucking awesome. And then seeing him pull on the fucking mask and start firing away and shit. Like, you know, I'm there for it, man.
I do love how, like, at no point when he was arrested by the authorities did anybody discover, like, did you know that this guy's a fucking baron? Like, he's not just like Tommy Zemo of the, you know, Sokovia Zemos. No, he's legit royalty. Should somebody know that?
Aren't there laws? Like, aren't there like diplomatic immunity? I hate to take it right back to Lethal Weapon, but diplomatic immunity. All right, so that's Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Indeed.
Episode 3 in the books for us, man, here on Fat Man Beyond. They're continuing to kill it over there in a good way.
Man, Disney will just have us. You know, like 3 more weeks of this. Then I'm sure there will be the behind the scenes Falcon Winter Soldier special. Then we get Loki, right?
Or Black Widow.
Well, Black Widow's July, I think.
Oh, is that right? All right,
yeah.
So Loki's coming up, yeah.
And then Loki's coming up, and then Black Widow, and then Hawkeye, and then like they will just. There will never be a time when we're not talking about something on Disney Plus at this rate.
So smart. Once their Marvel season is up, then their Star Wars season kicks in.
Yeah, Bad Batch, I think, is coming in May, which we get to talk about as well, if and we want to. I have
talk about that for sure.
Absolutely. I have not seen Godzilla v Kong yet because I'm going to the theater tomorrow.
I've watched half of it.
Yes.
I have not finished yet, but like, oh my God, they spent a lot of money. That movie is expensive. Like, you know, just it's crazy. As you watch it, you're like, well, that's not real. That's not real. That's not real. That's not real. All that shit had to be made. But yes, it's big. It's a big ass movie.
Outstanding. I'm glad I'm spending the money to see
so
it.
Far, I've seen a bunch of battles, and no complaints. Like they don't. It's not like they're like, we're saving it for the third act. They give you Godzilla fighting Kong pretty damn quick.
Outstanding.
But once again, and I know I've said this, and people on the internet have criticized me for it because like the human element is the most important element. But man, you could keep all those human scenes and just give me like, I'd almost rather see it from Kong's perspective where he's like, I don't know what they're talking about. Oh, I just woke up on a giant boat, man. And I'm ready to fucking go. Spoilers. I mean, that was in the trailer, but like it's.
I would like them to treat the humans the way that they treat adults in Peanuts, which are.
I would take that. That'd be amazing. I mean, honestly, I was watching it and I was like, the humans in these movies, they must shoot for like a week. You're in and out of this show in like a week, right? Because like you're always in a booth somewhere going like, oh, Godzilla's mad. We got to figure it out. And then, you know, you do that 10 times and that's it. You're out.
Let them fight.
Yeah. You could be that guy, the let them fight guy, or the little girl who holds up like the little Kong doll and stuff like that. I'm telling you, I shouldn't be fucking saying this shit. I should be trying to get a job in these fucking movies because you don't work very long, man.
Nope. Like, are you going to be the harbinger guy who says, you're all misunderstanding. You don't understand what's about to happen.
Work smarter, not harder, kids.
Yes. Like,
be a human in one of those Titan movies. You know, you work a week, you get your hospitalization, your medical covered for a year. But I will watch the rest of it. I have Mark is going to go see it. He's saving it. He's going to see it on a big screen. Rich man rented out a movie theater and shit like that. He's got those Bernardin mega bucks. Bernardin, as you know, means wealthy.
It does. It's what I like to call white boy money.
So that white boy money I've been looking for my whole life.
Yep.
Met a few white boys and they had it.
Sad, like the elusive white boy money. But yeah, tomorrow night I'm going to the theater to watch it. So I'll report back next week.
Right on. I watched it on my big ass TV and from my bed, and I was very, very content. But I fell asleep watching it, not because it was boring. It was because it was 2 a.m. No, it was like my wife was like, "Don't you think it's too late to start this?" I'm like, "No way, man, no way."
It's a clash of the Titans. A Titan against a Titan.
They gave me so much Titan fighting right up top that by midway through, I was like, not because I was bored, but just because I was like, all right, I got what I came here for.
I'm spent.
I'll watch the rest in the morning. Night.
So come back to Monster Hub later.
It is it's Monster Hub. It is it's available to watch right now, kids, and probably the story of the week, naturally, which will be the story for us next week. Because I'll finish it and Mark will watch it, and boy oh boy, we'll be all over Kong's dong, that's for sure.
Indeed.
Okay. This is the part of the show where we get to the goddamn news. Marc Bernardin is a news hound, ladies and gentlemen. He's many things, but he started in the black and white news mills back east, man, putting words together on blocks so they can run it on giant printing presses. He's a news hound. And he always goes out and finds the news for us. Marc Bernardin has the news. What's the news, Mark?
Before I get into the news that I found, I want to hear about the news that you said you found, which you were like all over Twitter today. A thing we're talking about. We're going to get into it. What did you see today that was on Twitter that we're going to talk
about? That they're not making the new gods.
That is news number one. Excellent.
Yeah.
Just making sure I didn't miss a thing.
No, I think that was it. I was so shocked by that. The Ava DuVernay New Gods movie they've put on hold. I was surprised, but less shocked by the announcement that they're putting the Trench movie on hold. I just watched Aquaman with Jen the other night, man, and that's a fucking long movie, man. Boy, there's a lot of movie in that. Like, it really does feel like they were like, we're only ever going to get to make one Aquaman movie across all of the multiverse. Let's put everything in it. And they fucking did. It really delivers. It's just so fucking packed. So as we were watching it, like, you know, when the trench scene happened, I was like, oh yeah, they're making this movie next. And then all of a sudden today, they're like, nah, we ain't making that movie. Surprising, because you could make that whole trench movie without using like fucking famous people or expensive people. It's just a bunch of, you know, fucking fish creatures and shit. So anyway, Warner Brothers announced they're not making that, at least at the present. And they also announced, more shockingly, that they're not making New Gods with Ava and who was Tom King was working on it.
Tom King was writing it with her.
Who wrote the Mr. Miracle series fairly recently. So he's their New Gods guy. But this project seemed like it was a done deal, like powerhouse talent behind it. Having a woman direct this giant sprawling fucking epic on of Jack Kirby's Fourth World. Fucking, you know, Apocalypse and New Genesis. Like, this was going to be huge. And all of a sudden they're like, we're not going to do it right now. Did they say why?
They didn't. According to the statement released by Warner Brothers and DC Films, as part of our DC slate, some legacy development titles, including New Gods and The Trench, will not be moving forward. We thank our partners, Ava DuVernay, Tom King, James Wan, and Peter Safran, for their time and collaboration during this process, and look forward to our continued partnership with them on other DC stories. The projects will remain in their skillful hands if they were to move forward in the future. So yeah, there is no official statement as to why. The sort of conventional popular theory is that New Gods just didn't fit in with their idea of the DC films going forward. And I think that they are trying to hew very closely to the multiverse idea, given that, like, yes, we're getting The Flash is going to spin forth their multiverse in a big bad way, but looking at different various iterations on IP that we understand and know and are invested in, which is we get more Batmans, we get more Jokers, we get more Shazams and Aquamans, and all that stuff can kind of live. And who knows what the third Wonder Woman movie will be. But they're trying to build a cohesive multiverse around ultimately the characters from the Justice League. And now some of the characters in Justice League Dark, as we're going to see, it's a Zatanna movie, and like there's lots of other stuff happening. And the New Gods always felt separate and beyond from that. Like, that doesn't tie in to our mainline superhero world at all. You know, except for as much as Zack Snyder's Justice League was like, hey, we're all about these New Gods. Like, let's introduce Granny Goodness and Darkseid and decide on all these creatures.
We just got a nice taste of it where it's like, oh shit, we're headed to the Fourth World. And now all of a sudden they're like, that's it.
We don't want to go to the Fourth World. So yeah, it's unclear why. I don't know if it's a matter of they'd had their fill of the new gods in Justice League, and we're like, hey, we tried, we gave it a valiant effort twice, and we feel like we've told as much of that story as we want to, or hey, it's not dead, it's just not the right time to get into the fourth world for now. But yeah, I mean, they have, let's see, their slate as far as we know it. Suicide Squad on August 6th, Batman March 4th, 2022, Black Adam July 29th, 2022, The Flash November 4th, 2022, which will then spin out into Aquaman 2, Shazam Fury of the Gods in 2023, Blue Beetle, Supergirl, Green Lantern Corps, and Static Shock, along with Zatanna, the Ta-Nehisi Coates, J.J. Abrams Superman, and Wonder Woman 3.
Good heavens, that's a packed slate.
That is a lot of stuff. And I guess they just sort of felt that, that maybe there's not room for stuff like a weird side adventure in the trench, and with, a weird, distant, trans-dimensional blah-blah-blah of New Gods. So who knows?
They're not wrong on the trench in as much as, like, why spend money and time developing IP that's not, like, about Ragman, about the Spectre? Like, they got a treasure trove of characters that they could create stories with, rather than like, hey, remember these side characters that were in fucking Aquaman? That could be a whole thing. It's like, well,
Yeah.
how about instead of that, we do, I don't know, fucking.
I mean, there's also the like, let's do an HBO Max $25 million horror movie called The Trench, which is about these monsters who live in the bottom of the ocean who like do some awful shit. Like, yeah, James Wan seems like the guy who could wrap his head around that. Yeah. But as a big ass kind of superhero-y thing, it's probably not the right formulation of events for them.
Well, that's a shame, particularly for the New Gods, because fuck. That'd be lovely to see. And perhaps one day we will. But right now, ain't happening, kids.
Indeed.
We like to give you good news on this show. Not like that John Krasinski good news, where can't all be bunnies and fucking puppies. But we like to give you good news about the future on this show. Unfortunately, there's some bad news about the future. We're not going to get a fucking a Dark Side movie. God damn.
You know what we are going to get, though? A live-action Thundercats movie.
The fuck? Seriously?
Seriously.
Who's doing this? What brave soul's entering there?
The brave soul is the fella who just left the ring with Godzilla vs. Kong, director Adam Wingard.
Is that the guy who did Kong Skull Island?
No, that was Jordan Roberts.
So then who's the guy who just did this one?
Adam Wingard.
What has he done before?
He done some sort of kind of smaller horror stuff. I think he did a film called You're Next.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he did a live action adaptation of Death Note. But yeah, like apparently he's loved the Thundercats since they were young kittens. And he just sort of like came out and said, hey man, here's what I want to do next. He's using the animated series as a jumping off point, but then he will take it in a direction he's been thinking about for many years in a sort of hybrid CG animation jammy jam.
I mean, in a world where they made cats, you could get away with Thundercats. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't even have to just make them up per se. You could fucking CG their feline features and whatnot, put buttholes on them like they did with one of those cuts of cats.
If this isn't the asshole cut of the fucking Thundercats, then what are we here for?
Let me tell you something right now. I'm fucking there for Mumra.
Mumra!
Mumra, the ever-living. Well, that's good news for somebody. I'll watch it. I was never a Thundercats kid. That was, I was kind of already in high school when Thundercats broke. But I'm there for it. I support it. I'm not against it by any stretch of the imagination. I know this is going to make a bunch of fucking people happy. I know a lot of people, or I don't know this for a fact, but I've seen some people on the internet aren't very happy with the current Thundercats cartoon. They think it's a little too animated or whatever the hell.
Right.
But, sounds like they're going to get everything they want with a live action movie. Who's
think
doing
so.
it? What studio?
Let's see. I think it's going to be. It feels like it's going to be Warner Brothers. But
They're
it's
the ones that do the cartoon, right? Because I
Yeah.
see it on the Warner Brothers lot, the big Thundercats billboard.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It wasn't made clear in the news story, but which perhaps it is just a bunch of production companies now without a studio involved. But
Mark, who am I? Who am I? I'm one of the cows, and it's a small world after all.
I appreciate you not waiting for an answer because I never would have gotten there.
All right. What other news?
What other news? Disney Plus, our friends at Disney Plus.
Let me tell you something. Disney Plus can sleep with my wife if Disney Plus wants to, because they're doing me right everywhere. There's this Disney Plus. I had no idea that I would enjoy it as much as I do. Aside from giving us these cool new shows, they, I could deep dive and watch every Simpsons. But did you know they put together this like Star Wars vintage category?
I just saw that today.
And it has like the Ewok movies in it and the cartoons and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, now that's fucking fan service. Good for them, man. No wonder they got like all those people buying in, because I'm a happy customer. I'm sure everyone else, as long as they keep giving us the good, man. Brand new show every fucking other month or whatever the fuck, they can have me.
Indeed. But they have confirmed the cast for the new Star Wars series, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That was big news this week. I saw this shit.
That was some big news. And so Joel Edgerton and Bonnie Pice.
She was the lady who was in that documentary, The Vow.
Indeed. I was like,
and when you watched that documentary, you were like, well, that Star Wars was the one bright moment in her career and it'll never come again. Cut to. They're like, come on back. We need Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen.
Yeah, she's playing the long game. I'm like, you just wait. They're going to come back. They're going to ask me again, and I'm going to be ready.
Yeah, man. It's a good thing that she ain't in that cult no more and shit. Next year.
Good thing the cult imploded.
Well, that's, I saw those two are coming back. The one that fucking blew my mind is one of the Safdie brothers is in the cast.
Yeah, Benny Safdie is in the cast. Fucking Ice
wonderful
Jr.
and good time, man.
O'Shea Jackson Jr.
I spoke to his dad this week on Smodcast.
Did he have feelings about his son going into a galaxy far, far away?
I didn't know. They announced it the next day. But what was horrible is him and I were Zooming, and in the corner of the Zoom, how it has your name, like mine says Kevin Smith, it said O. Jackson. And then for a while, I was like, oh, wow. In his real life, he actually goes by his name. But then I started thinking as we were halfway through the Zoom, I bet you he's on his kid's computer. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's an old man like me. So I'm sure he's just like, get in here and get me on your laptop.
Yeah, make the talking box work.
Brilliant genius, responsible for like some of the greatest rap songs of all time, some of the greatest movies, comedies of all time and whatnot. And I'm like, I bet you he can't figure out his laptop.
Yeah. It's like, why can't I can't hear him. Why can't I hear him? Oh, Junior, get your ass in here and put me on the Zoom.
So Junior, who he doesn't go by that at all, I'm sure. No. Does he?
Not as far as I know. I don't think anybody's calling him Junior. Not to his face anyway.
He's in the cast.
He's in the cast. Kumail Nanjiani is in the cast.
That was new information. I mean, look, a lot of this was new information, but some of the roles we'd heard about along the way.
Yeah,
but that was brand new.
Indira Varma, Rupert Friend.
Which Kumail are they putting in? The Kumail we all know, or fucking cut from God's own marble? Look at the veins and the sinew. Look at the fucking strength in this comic, or is it that Kumail?
I think that Kumail is the only Kumail you get at this point.
Man, oh man.
Because I remember I was listening to the podcast that he did with his wife, Emily Gordon, at the sort of beginning of the pandemic. And he just was talking about how now like working out for him is just a way of life. And it's how he was finding his center. And he feels compelled to do it. And maybe it's once Marvel spends that money to get you in that shape, you're like, I'm not going to fuck this up. If all I got to do is work out and like eat pretty decently, like I'm going to stay like this.
Also, because you're like, it ain't just, they don't just do one of these Marvel movies. There's probably going to be a few Eternals.
Yeah. And so now he's also going to be in a Star Wars picture. So maybe he's putting those guns to good use.
Good for him. Who else?
Yeah. Let's see.
Lady from Rome, who they already announced.
Yeah, Indira Varma. Rupert Friend. Sung Kang, who means nothing to you, but to anybody who's seen a Fast and Furious movie. He plays my favorite character name in the entire series, Han Solo. Is literally the character's name. It's Han, and then it's SOEUL-OH.
That's cute.
So he's Han Solo. Simone Kessel and Benny Safdie.
Big cast. They didn't say what their storyline they're doing.
They said nothing. Oh, and Hayden Christensen is back as Darth Vader.
That's the big news. And he's going to play Darth Vader.
Yeah. And whether or not we get to see Force Ghosty, anybody, whether or not there's a version of Obi-Wan communing with his old friend who's now become his new enemy, so we get to see actual Anakin Skywalker again.
Or we might get to see a little Qui-Gon action in this as well.
Indeed, because that was his mission, right? Was to protect the boy, and I'll teach you how to commune with the dead.
Yes.
Okay.
You're getting a little Qui-Gon action in this. There ain't no way that he ain't their fucking, Mark Hamill in the final episode where it's like, Qui-Gon.
Well, and Liam Neeson came back.
Look who bamfed in, ladies and gentlemen, our resident Star Wars expert. What do you have to say for yourself?
Liam Neeson had come back in Star Wars Rebels, I believe, to do a voice cameo. So it would make sense. They've already got him for the cartoon.
The Rise of Skywalker, right?
Well, he did it in Rebels. They animated him and he voiced it. I'm not sure. In Rise of Skywalker, they pulled voices from everybody, but I don't know if they re-recorded them.
I think that was new. If I remember the story correctly, it was new. And even beyond that, they shot him. Like, it wasn't just meant to be a voiceover.
Oh.
To see Force ghosts. And I think they shot, this could be what do they call it? Not when it's apocryphal. But I'm pretty damn sure that, what I read, that he had shot people as these, he shot Hayden and he shot Liam Neeson, but then instead they just went with their voices.
The other interesting thing is that Hayden is kind of the first Anakin that actually gets to play Darth Vader. It's always been a David Prowse or a stunt double or whatever it is, and you're going to actually see Anakin play Vader, which is kind of interesting.
What are they going to do about the voice, though? Is it going to be James Earl Jones, you think?
Probably not. They got him for Rogue One.
But then they got him for, fucking the last of the prequels when he was like, where's Padme? And then she's like, she died. No. So they've established that he sounds like James Earl Jones from the moment the guy got off the table. So I feel like it's got to be James Earl Jones, right?
He's old. That's the thing.
You saw him in Coming to America.
Yeah. He can still do it, clearly, but that's a big ask for that dude.
I wonder,
granted, it's a big ask to get him, but if it's not him, that's massive news in the Star Wars universe. That would be the first time that James Earl Jones wasn't voicing Darth Vader.
Well, and how do you justify that? If he's around and working, like he just did Coming to America too, how do you not just get him in a VO booth for an afternoon or in front of a Zoom, Yeah,
he did again for The Lion King that just came out not too long ago. But he's 90 years old.
Is he really?
Yeah.
He's as old as William Shatner?
Yeah.
William Shatner just turned 90 this week, and that blew my hair back. I'm like, 90? You really don't look it. He looks like 70s max, but who knew?
Of the two of them that I expected to be better preserved, it was not William Shatner.
Agreed.
So yes, we have a cast for Kenobi. Cameras roll this month, apparently, sometime in April. It seems as if their process is about a year from cameras roll to air. So it looks as if April 2022, perhaps, is when we get Kenobi.
Something to live for, kids. Something to look forward to. Something to believe in, as the good folks at Poison used to sing to us.
Indeed. So yes, that is a good thing. This was one of the oddest news stories of the week, and yet made all the sense in the world. Game of Thrones, beloved fantasy project, shepherded, created by, and now sort of creatively godfathered by George R. R. Martin, looks like it's going to the stage, to the Broadway.
A live show?
A dramatic stage show spectacular based on George R. R. Martin's fantasy world is now in development.
Musical or non-musical?
Non-musical. The first show is expected to launch in 2023. The production includes a fairly unique story element that should be a huge draw for fans. Most of the shows that they're now developing for HBO Max are prequels that won't involve very many of the original characters. This as yet untitled play is set during a pivotal moment in Westeros history, the Great Tourney in Harrenhal, a contest that took place just 16 years before the events in Game of Thrones. So it is entirely possible that you could see young Ned Stark, his sister Lyanna, Lord Robert Baratheon, cocky teenage Jaime Lannister, love-struck Prince Rhaegar Targaryen, Prince Oberyn Martell, all of these characters that we've seen in the show just 10 or 15 years before we've seen them. So it's a pretty big deal. Like, it's a legit dramatic enterprise that's set in a singular location. That could also feel a bit like medieval times. There's jousting and archery, and also maybe incest. So you're muted, dude.
I said, just like at medieval times, kids. Incest. Wow, that's not what I would do, but not undoable. But, I guess the model is, the Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, right? Like, they did a whole fucking play that's made a bunch of money and shit and could become a thing later on after it's done with its live run and stuff. But so I guess stranger things have happened, but.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's not the craziest idea that I'd heard. And I think, to your point, the Harry Potter show is very much the if not inspiration, the comparison that you would use, which is they made a boatload of money off of that.
Yeah.
And that show can play and will play whenever theaters return for a good long time, and as could this. If this is good, there's no reason why it couldn't play, touring companies all over the world. It's a popular book.
I heard somebody upstairs. Sorry.
Ghosts.
Heard somebody above me, and I thought Jen was down for the count. Now I'm like, who's upstairs? Well, normally I'm like, well, I'll see it. I don't know if I will see that. Not because I'm like, I'm against it. I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, it's very early stages. If it happens at all, it won't be for another couple of years at best.
Feels a little late, no?
Well, I mean, I think that they are foreseeing a new wave of interest in Game of Thrones. I think that they're hoping that the new HBO Max shows will sort of re-engineer some interest in it. At some point, George R. R. Martin will finish his final book, which will be a sort of pop phenomenon of he finally did it, you guys. He finished the books. So if that entire sort of collection of events begins to get some traction, then yeah, maybe a stage play is not the weirdest thing.
I'm sorry, I had to text my wife to be like, are you on the deck? I don't know. She hasn't texted back.
Kevin, we haven't had a deck in 40 years.
Yeah. The call is coming from inside the deck. Get out of the house. Okay. If I hopefully I don't get killed, and if I do, it's on camera because that'd be huge for the show, I'm sure.
Frightening, but massive.
Nobody's coming in this room with this fucking ring light on. They're like, no way. I can't do crimes in the bright light. Shine light on my crimes. What else we got?
The last story of the day, which is tangentially genre, but we talked about the first of what is now going to be at least 3 movies. So why not talk about it here? Netflix is closing in on a deal to make 2 sequels to Rian Johnson's 2019 hit Knives Out.
Now, who made the first one? Was that Fox?
It was Lionsgate. MRC was the studio, and they paid for it, and it was distributed through Lionsgate. But they didn't make any other deals. It was a single picture-by-picture basis. And so they were now free to do whatever they wanted to do with the sequels. And so apparently they went to town. And, Apple and Amazon were other potential bidders on it, but it went to Netflix for some $450 million is what it's going to cost them to acquire, produce, and then release these 2 more Knives Out movies.
I never understand these figures. Does that mean that Rian Johnson gets $400 million? No.
I don't think so. I think that, I don't think that's just the rights to acquire the rights to make a movie. I imagine that part of that was, hey, it cost us $40 million to make the first one. Let's pretend it'll cost us $80 million to make the next 2. Everything beyond that production cost then becomes profit for us, because they think that the viewership and the subscription bumps and all that stuff will be worth it. But it's a great deal for Rian Johnson, and it means that we get to see more Daniel Craig as Benoit Blanc.
And it's all different casts, right? It's like he's like his Sherlock Holmes. He'll just take him through different things.
Yeah, he's your Hercule Poirot, or he's your whatever. It's very much Agatha Christie. Here's your gentleman detective who's embroiled in a different set of murders.
400 million, Mark, is an incredible amount of money for 2 movies that don't really have special effects in them. If they're anything like the first one, you know what I'm saying? It's not like $400 million, that's 2 Marvel movies. So, like, where's all the money going, man? Like, hopefully people are getting well paid, because they're literally just talky detective pictures. I'm not reducing them, saying they suck. Knives Out was wonderful, but I'm just saying $400 million for, like, people talking to each other. Somebody better be getting rich off this. Sounds like part of the deal is, like, not just this is what we use to make the movie, but, like, here's the riches for being Knives Out 2 and 3 because Knives Out 1 did so well.
Yeah,
right?
Knives Out 1 cost $40 million to make and made $300 and some odd million. And for a movie that, to your point, is the oldest of old school kinds of movies, which is a bunch of people in a house talking at each other, one of which may be a murderer and one of which is eventually going to be dead. Mm-hmm. And to be able to just, this is a formula that, Agatha Christie kept on printing and repeating. Arthur Conan Doyle, just like, hey man, we're going to do Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile and any number of different books. So why can't we? So if you liked that movie, you have 2 more to look forward to at some point in the next few years.
Good for him, man. He's such a sweet kid. And, like, there's something to be said for, like, that's his baby. Mm-hmm. All of that is his. He was like, I want to do like a detective thing. Now he's got himself a fucking franchise. And mind you, he worked on a franchise, a little called Star Wars once upon a time. So it must be incredibly satisfying for him to be like, I got my own thing,
Yeah, and it seems like this deal.
He could have done it with Brick. He could have made a Brick universe as well, but probably smarter to do it with Daniel Craig.
And I think that, speaking for him, I'm going to say he was inspired by the deal that George Lucas made on the first Star Wars, which is, I'll make this movie for you, but the sequel rights belong to me. And that's when I get rich. That's when I cash in. And so, like, I'll make this movie for you, MRC and Lionsgate, but I get the right to make the next one's my
ER Mixon's Craziest Theories in chat, Mark, on YouTube, says, seriously, how do you, a director, not know this stuff? You literally make movies for a living. Why would I know about making $200 million movies or deals like this? I've never had a deal like this in my life. Kids, they don't give away deals like this all the time. That's why it's news. If they did this all the time, they wouldn't fucking write about it. But a guy gets $400 million for a couple sequels and I'm supposed to know anything about it? Man, I'm lucky to get two fucking nickels to put together to make a fucking movie and stuff. So this is as news to me. Just because you're a director don't mean you know every aspect of the fucking business. I never been to the halls of power or anything like that. Such a weird thing to be like, you're a director. How do you not know this? I'm like, I don't know. You're a human being. How do you not know everything there is to know about human beings? Like, you fucking stick to your corner, man. You do your thing in your backyard and shit. Why am I explaining myself to that dude? Anyway, somebody in chat, Joel says, Jessica Walters, news about her death. We should talk about her.
Yes.
She figures into the genre world, of course, through by way of Archer. She played Archer's mom. But and horror genre or thriller genre, if you go back to play Misty for me. Also, the comedic genre, of course, for like brilliant performance across many seasons of Arrested Development. Lucille Bluth, one of the greatest TV characters ever created, but had everything to do with the performer playing her. I think Lucille Bluth got bigger because Jessica Walter could give so much and kept showing the writers and directors enough where they're like, right to that. So huge loss. First time I ever noticed her was in the Mad Magazine movie Up the Academy, where Ron Liebman, her husband, was in it as well. And he propositioned her in the movie. He's like, tickle your ass with a feather. And she's like, what'd you say? And he's like, particularly nice weather. But I remember seeing them together on an episode of Law and Order years ago as well. He's passed a couple of years ago, if I remember correctly. It's a shame to lose her, man. She was a really cool, classy, funny, talented lady. Never met her, but fuck, loved her work.
Yeah, no, she passed on Wednesday the 24th at 80 years old.
80. She should have kept going. She should have those Shatner years, those Shatner James Earl Jones years. 90. G. Gordon Liddy died this week. He was also 90.
No, 90. 90 is the new 70.
Apparently, man. Apparently, like I sit here at 50 and I'm like, well, my life, I probably have less years in front of me than behind me. But who knows, man? If people are living at 90 and shit like that. Stan made it to like, what, 96?
Yeah, I mean, Carl Reiner was like 97, 98 maybe.
Could do it. I mean, look.
Norman Lear is still kicking. He's like 104.
That's absolutely right. All right, is that the end of the news?
That's the end of the news, my friend.
The Mind Fornicator says George Siegel also. We talked about him last week, didn't we? I thought we did.
I think we did too, yeah.
I know I talked about him on someplace else, maybe Hollywood Babylon, but I loved George Siegel. I got to preside over his star ceremony in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I met him on the Goldbergs, and we got along very well. And he was like, "Come do my swearing in ceremony." I'm sure we talked about this here. Maybe not. Maybe I do a lot of talking, kids. So sometimes I forget where. That's all the news we got.
That's all the news, my friend.
Last chance, kids. Anyone want to give us any fucking news before we get out of here? Anything we missed? You can hit me in chat right now. Because if not, we're moving on. We're moving on to the Q&A part of the goddamn show.
Yep.
All right. I see nothing. So it looks like we're free to go. Move on to the next section, the final section of our show, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on. We got breaking news from chat, Mark. I knew they would come through for us. John Zanarini says, my mom was working at the Monroeville Mall while you were filming Zack and Miri. That's it.
Big news.
That's the tweet. Thank you. That is good.
Big news about Zach's mom.
3747 Carlin in chat guesses that the power broker is Mandarin, which could set you up for Shang-Chi, which is coming up.
Very much. That's a smart pull.
What else can we have? Nothing else. Who should? Well, these are questions. All right. So Michael Elledge just let us know that he just farted. Thank you, Michael.
Excellent.
Open a window.
Yeah, late breaking news. I broke it.
Or some shit. All right. That's it for all the news. Now we're heading into the Q&A portion of the show, ladies and gentlemen. So we beg JC to bamf in here and fucking give us what for.
Bamf it, yo.
Well, because we talked about pizza for a while today, Vickish D was wondering if you guys opened a restaurant, which superheroes would you hire for each of the different positions in a restaurant?
Oh, my.
Wait, are we into it? This is the first question?
Yeah. Did you want
to... A little banter or some shit.
Oh.
Usually you warm us up, you tell us what's going on in chat. All of a sudden we're diving right into it. You skip the kiss and you went
I was excited about
time
that.
for tickling your taint. You just want to ask a question.
I was about to grab a quick fucking Invincible.
Oh, okay. Well, we can...
And all of a sudden questions were coming at me fast and furious. Don't you have any like chit chat? You can fucking kill some time. What's been going on in chat? Tell us about that.
We got some people called it out in chat. We got the original 2D Clone Wars micro series on that vintage Disney Plus that came back. That was pretty exciting.
Because it was hard to find, right? Like you couldn't buy those anywhere.
Yeah, they stopped making the DVDs. You couldn't buy them, so it was kind of like, you know, if you knew somebody who had it, it was like pornography when you were a kid. You knew the one guy whose parents had Showtime and taped something off of it. That's kind of how that DVD was for a while. So we got that back, which was kind of cool. Chat's been pretty good. No,
asking us in chat why we're not talking about Superman and Lois. They've now went on a hiatus, so we should probably watch those episodes and talk about those next week. Supergirl is now back in its place for a little while, but I've heard nothing but good things about Superman and Lois.
Yeah, it slipped through the cracks, and then finding it on the other side of those cracks will just take some doing. But it's one of those. Is this on HBO Max? It should be on HBO Max, and the answer was no. It's not on HBO Max. I'm like, well, where can I watch it? I think I found out, but still.
Did we talk about Dr. Fate last week or no?
We did last week, yeah.
Did as well. All right. So in chat, some people are going, what about this? Wyatt Russell asked a question in chat, and I'm sure it's not the Wyatt Russell, but he asks, why did Zemo put on his mask to kill 3 people and take it back off? I too had that moment as well, because I was like, he put it on, and then like a few minutes later, he took it off. So I didn't understand the rationale, but I was more than happy to see him in that fucking mask.
And also, like, was the mask padded in some way? And why was it just hanging out on the seat of a like 1983 Dusseldorf Supreme or
Don't
whatever?
care. Don't give a shit. Just glad it exists. Fuck all those logic questions. I was just happy.
When I went to prison, I was masturbating in this mask, and here's where I left it. So I gotta get a thing.
It looks like it's meant to be like a face shield, like bulletproof, right? Like, why else would he wear it? Like, other than I'm going to get into some shit, so I'm going to put on the mask. That way, if somebody shoots me, that's the logic leap that I made, because that's the only reason to
I have no other armor, just this awesome shielding coat, but my face is protected because this is the moneymaker, baby.
Because he's a fucking Baron, kids. He's a goddamn Baron. Baron Zemo. All right, now I'm ready, JC.
Okay. So we talked about pizza, and Vickish D was wondering if you guys opened a restaurant fully staffed with superheroes, who would you hire for each of the different positions? So you need a cook, a bartender, a server, and a door guy. If we were going to staff Scum and Villainy, that's what we'd need. Minimum.
Okay. We'll go position for position. Hit us with that list again.
Okay, so we'll start at the front door. Who would be your door guy?
The Incredible Hulk.
Swamp Thing.
Mine would be
Swamp Thing. Are you going to get into a fucking philosophical conversation with the bouncer?
Well, I don't want somebody who like has rage control problems. You want a bouncer who's got a slightly more even keel.
Good point. He's just like, I would let you in, but the green says
Yes. Answer me these questions 3 and enter you may.
Fair enough. I buy that. JC, who was yours?
I like Gorilla Grodd.
Good call, man. And also just entertaining because people are like, did you see the gorilla speak? Like he's talking to us and crazy shit.
Inspired by Who Framed Roger Rabbit, right? They had a very effective door guy.
Nice.
All right, what's the next position? Chef?
Cook. A cook.
Cook, you say. Well, Reed Richards. Because not only is he brilliant and he'll have a lot of recipes and shit, but he can work by himself in the kitchen. He can get the salt if it's way over there. You know, he's like an octopus, man. So he's my chef. What about you? He's my cook.
I feel like Doctor Strange would be a good cook. I feel like, you know, fucking he's a dude who reads real fast, so has read every cookbook in the world, can conjure magical ingredients and shit to make stuff good. And even though he can no longer perform surgery on people, I don't think those knife skills are entirely gone.
It's true, man. That dude be good with fucking chopping up them carrots all quick.
And just fucking floating around the room and shit. Just whoa.
He can astrally project himself into the kitchen. He could be having a conversation with you in one room, cooking in the other.
He could be front of house and back of house.
Ooh, that's good. What about you, JC? Who's your chef? Who's your
I
cook?
liked either Quicksilver or the Flash because they could zip around and have everything going and multitask. But I think
fast doesn't mean good, though.
Yeah, but you can turn the orders out.
Fair enough.
I think the best though, WT Frocks in chat pointed out Condiment King would be good in the kitchen.
Absolutely. What a great call. All right, so we got our doorman, our chef, bartender.
We need a bartender.
I choose Jesus. This is a man who could take water and turn it into wine, you know. And who's what bigger superhero than Jesus?
That is the perfect answer for this Good Friday, sir.
Thank you. That's right. think of him on Good Friday. Jesus.
I go Professor X. I think a good psychic bartender who knows exactly what you need to drink without you having to ask for it would be a popular feature.
You can have a whole conversation with him, and you could go deep and not even talk out loud.
Yep.
He could read your order from the table. You wouldn't even need to get up to go to the bar.
Yeah, suddenly just drinks show up.
And he could read what's wrong with you or what you're going through, help you out, get you out of jams and shit like that. He's talented, this bartender.
Mm-hmm. I think I would like you to find a psychic bartender, JC.
My thought was, if I wasn't using him in the kitchen, I think the Flash would make a good bartender. He's a chemist.
Good fucking answer for everything. You're like, fast.
He's a chemist. You know, he worked in a chemistry crime lab, so he understands how certain things go together, and he's quick.
He's like, look, man, nobody knows this, but a little formaldehyde, that's going to make you fucked up. Who else we got? We need one more position.
Servers.
Server. Jamie Madrox, the multiple man.
Ooh, smart one.
Or Duplicate from Invincible, if we're going to be a little more current.
Indeed. After seeing the Rebellion trailer for Suicide Squad that James Gunn so wisely released on April Fool's Day, I was like, Arms Off Man might be interesting as a server, but I think Dazzler. I want fucking roller skates. Give me the skates.
And she can sing too.
And she can sing. Or Jubilee.
Would be great on karaoke nights.
Yes.
Jubilee. She can bring you your drink and then shoot fireworks.
Yeah, every day's your birthday at Jubilee's Pub.
That's awesome. What about you, JC? Who's your servitor?
Similar to you.
The fucking Flash again.
Well, similar to your Reed Richards in the kitchen, I thought Plastic Man, who seems jovial, would be a good server.
Eel O'Brien, man. I'd take a drink from him. He's absolutely jovial. And, like, even if people get shitty drunk and try to punch him in the face, it's just like, boop, comes right out.
You refill your water from across the restaurant while he's taking somebody else's order.
That's a good point. All right, we love it. That was a great question. Well done, man. Question 2.
John Carlos McMaster was asking if the Marvel or DC universes were to make a Freaky Friday style body swap comedy, what 2 characters would you cast to body swap?
Well, DC, of course, it would have to be Batman and Superman, your big 2. They couldn't be more unalike yet while still being kind of, similar in some degrees and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Clark Kent being a sunshiny fucking Bruce Wayne and Batman, and fucking Bruce Wayne inhabiting a very fucking dark and emo Superman, I think would be fun to watch on the DC side. On the Marvel side, here, I'll think about my Marvel side. You go for your DC side, Mark.
Okay, DC. I go Batman and Robin. I go Batman and Dick Grayson. I think the classic Freaky Friday of, grown-up little kid swapping places, especially if you do it early in their run. So it's still kind of very young Dick Grayson, who was broke as fuck, who now gets to be the richest man in Gotham and also a grown-up who's got hair in funny places and all of that shit. Mm-hmm. And then Batman having to be a child again, but the angriest fucking kid you've ever met. It's because it's comedy that you're looking for. And I think that particular pairing is a recipe for dilemmas and delight.
Let's see. On the Marvel side, a really fucking boring flip Freaky Friday is Hulk and She-Hulk. So essentially, it's just like each one gets to find out what it's like to live as the other sex.
Right. And also, like, I have to practice law. I never passed the bar.
That's true. Well, I was thinking we'd use Smart Hulk. But you're right. Much better if it's old Hulk and stuff.
Rage
when
Hulk.
He comes into court, he's just like, Hulk smash and shit like that.
Object.
Who's yours? Who's your Marvel switch up?
I kind of go the classic Power Man and Iron Fist. I think that leaving aside the potential for racial commentary, I think it's just funny if those 2 guys are suddenly swapping bodies and you get some of that, class difference. Like, so this is what it's like to be rich. And also, I know Kung Fu. And also, why don't I know Kung Fu? I spent I stole the heart of the dragon Kunlun and no, you're just a bruiser now, dude. You just got to punch people real hard. Mm-hmm. I think that can be kind of fun. And then I also thought about like Wolverine and Cyclops.
So Wolverine could finally know what it's like to love Jean and be loved back by Jean.
But also be stuck in that body that he hates so much.
Yeah.
Like every time he looks in the mirror, he wants to punch himself.
Yeah. And he just keeps shooting himself in the face.
Keeps trying to break off his adamantium claws and shit, bending doors and whatnot. What about you, JC? You got any?
I think the movie I'd actually really want to see is like Iron Man 3.5, which is where Tony swaps with that little boy. And the little boy gets to be Iron Man, and Tony has to, be the sidekick gadget kid.
Nice.
1.5 men. 1.5 Iron Men.
Well, it's
1.5 Iron Men.
It's kind of like vice versa with Judge Reinhold and Fred Savage from back in the day, right? You just literally take the Same guy, but switch ages.
Nice.
That was fun. All right, fucking take us to our third and final question.
Take us home.
You know what? I was trying to do like Spider-Man, but they've already done that. Like fucking Doc Ock was Spider-Man at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Like in his head or his body or whatever the fuck. And Craven to some degree also was like, they didn't truly Freaky Friday it, but he pretended to be fucking Spider-Man.
Right. Although Spider-Man Kingpin would be fun.
Yes. Giant man in a little boy's body. Thinks he has all the power in the world and shit.
Yeah.
And then Peter trying to be agile in that clunky, massive frame.
Yeah. Just Kingpin having to deal with Aunt May without giving up the ghost. It's like, you want me to fold my clothes, woman? Do you know who I am? I control this island from
no clothes. Peter, you're awfully temperamental today.
Yes. Oh, who's the Kingpin now?
All right, final question of the evening.
So, Fripp25 asked, and I've seen this one going around the internet, but I think it could be fun. What movie would you want to see redone with Muppets? And what Muppets would you put in the leading roles? So it's not, you don't leave one guy. It's a whole new Muppet movie, but they can borrow from whatever movie.
Like doing Muppet Treasure Island or Muppet Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Muppet 7. Who's playing my parts?
What's in the box?
Let's see. Who's playing my Brad Pitt part? Scooter.
Nice.
But obviously a more confident Scooter than we ever saw.
Uh-huh.
And my Morgan Freeman character is Sam, the Eagle. And the Gwyneth Paltrow character is Janice. Hey, man, from the fucking Dr. Teeth.
Why do you want to leave here, Mr. Somerset? What's wrong with this city?
Nobody's gonna watch my version of 7 with the Muppets if I go with Sam the Eagle and fucking Scooter. Let me see if I can recast with more beloved Muppets. Fozzie's not right for anything in 7, except maybe to like the heavyset guy who eats the spaghetti and fucking dies.
Right.
Kermit's not right for either part.
Well, Kermit's John Doe.
Ooh. Oh, that's good. You're right. I forgot about him. Kermit Spacey. Kermit Spacey. That's a good call, man. Where he's like, "Hi ho, look at all my notebooks.
I surrender to you.
Become wrath. Yay!" All right. You know what? I'm buying this. If Kermit is our fucking killer, we get away with Scooter and Sam the Eagle. Not the sexiest cast, but people are like, what? Kermit is the bad guy? Fuck, I'm in. What a spin.
Nice.
All right. What's yours?
I'm going Trading Places. I think I might also have to do Sam the Eagle for Dan Aykroyd, for Louis Winthorpe.
Sam fucking Eagle getting a lot of play in our world. He needs us to be his agents. Fuck.
I think so. We're getting a lot more work. Dr. Teeth is Billy Ray Valentine.
Nice.
Walder and Statler are the Duke brothers, clearly. Waldorf and Statler. I don't know what I just said. I think you have to go Miss Piggy as Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, agreed.
Don't
Janice that one.
No, like it's easy to go Janice, but I think you want Piggy front and center in this.
You want a star.
Yeah, and I think maybe Kermit is Beaks is the evil sort of shady operator.
The one who winds up with the gorilla.
Yeah, the weird ass bestiality scene at the end of that movie that's played for laughs.
He's the same guy who is like, you mess with the bull, you get the horns, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Who raided Barry Manilow's wardrobe. What a wonderful character actor he was. I like it. I'll pay. Where's my money? Here you go.
I would watch both of these movies.
I have a few dollars to put towards your Muppet movie.
Well, it's all we need. Just money for felt, man.
That's it. Money for felt, and the chicks are free. That's the last. JC, you got one? What do you want to Muppetize?
I'm going to shout out Big Sky Vike in the chat who said the Muppet Blues Brothers and Fozzie and Ralph the dog.
Oh, that's good. I'd see that. That's okay. Yeah, I'd buy that. How about Muppet on Golden Pond? So that's older Kermit, older Piggy, and Robin, Kermit's nephew, who's like, "What do you guys do? Cruise chicks? Cruise chicks? Then what do you do when you get them? You suck face, Uncle Kermit." Because kids, Mark, love on Golden Pond.
It's their favorite movie.
I was going for the most popular pop culture reference I could. I put my finger on the pulse and I pulled out on Golden Pond.
I almost went No Country for Old Muppets.
Nice. Who plays the fucking dude with the air hammer?
Oh yeah, the Javier Bardem, your Anton Chigurh.
Anton Chigurh, that's right. He could be the dude with the dynamite who's always like,
yeah, like your Swedish chef.
Pork,
friendo.
Friendo. Pork. Choose it, heads or tails, friendo.
Call it, friendo.
JC, did you give us yours? Yes, you did. Then that's it.
That's it, man.
We ran out of show. We showed until we could show no more.
We're showers, not growers.
2 hours of show, even without a guest. Just yapping at all the things you love that we love too. Did you have a good time tonight, kids? On a Friday night? Isn't this how you dreamed you'd spend your Friday nights? Looking at us talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier and giving thanks to the good folks at Keeps, keeps.com/fatman. If you want to keep your hair, for heaven's sakes. We ain't got a show without the kid who bamps in from time to time. Give it up for JC. JC, one more time where they can buy tickets for the opening.
bit.ly/Scum and Villainy. We'll get you there.
The longest Bitly address of all time. There's some slots left, man, but all the prime real estate's gone. Is that correct?
Yeah, we got the earlier and late shows. The mid like 7:30 to 11 is all sold out.
Nice.
It's a happy hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Shit. Well
it's
done.
a school night, so Tuesday.
Not for us.
That's still happening? Like give up on that shit. We ain't got no show without the guy who's down there. There he is. Give it up for Mr. Mad Marc Bernardin.
Hey, woo, York.
Thanks to the good folks at Invincible for a vibrator, which I'm going to go use on myself. I'll be honest with you.
Also, the most punishing vibrator. It is not a gentle vibrate.
No way.
It is did you have kidney stones? Not anymore, pal.
I tell you, I need that kind of discipline, Mark. I need that kind of, shouldn't be enjoyable. Should be.
No, it reminds me when I pulled mine out of my box, the Invincible box, I suddenly flashed into my head from Top Secret, the dude pulling the anal intruder giant jackhammer out of a box.
Right.
Yeah.
It is, thank you to the good folks at Amazon who sent us those giant vibrators.
Indeed.
And the coffee and the chocolate and all that shit. We're going to use it. And keep watching Invincible. Look, I was watching it without the fucking swag because that shit is dope. Don't forget to watch Invincible, kids. And there it is. Don't forget to go join that Kevin Smith Club if you're not a member.
I just found on the interwebs, so it must be true. April 15th is when they are allowing indoor performances, shows, things again. So we could be back in 2 weeks in front of people. If everybody wears their masks for the next 2 weeks and numbers don't spike.
Facts. There it is, people. A good reason to wear your fucking mask so that me and Mark can go back to the cantina and do a fucking show with an audience. Proper people.
For you.
For you as well, yeah. We want to do a show with decent people.
Not this riffraff.
Yeah, look at this shit. Fucking us in cyber boxes like we're the fucking Kryptonian villains and shit. No. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your Fat Man Beyond for this week. I'm Kevin Smith.
I'm Marc Bernardin.
You tune in next time. Same fat time. Not the case. We'll probably be on a Saturday. Same fat channel. That never changes. Facebook or smodcast.com or
youtube.com/Kevin Smith.
Jeff's Kiss, everybody.
Jeff's Kiss.